Hello again, everybody. It's Takedown Wrestling, covering the sport coast to coast, border to border, and all the ships at sea. Let's head to L.A., where our guest Kevin Lake joins us from Beat the Streets, Los Angeles. Kevin, how are you?
I'm great. Scott, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. You, I think, are on the 16th floor on Figueroa Street in Los Angeles. Am I correct?
That's right. That's right. And you can see in the background we have a nice little view of the neighboring buildings here in LA. So it's pretty nice little setup.
Well, we appreciate, again, you taking the time. There's some things I'd like to cover on what's going on with Beat the Streets LA. You guys, along with New York perhaps, are leading the way promotionally speaking and in serving your overall mission. First, let's talk about the mission of Beat the Streets LA and its overall goals. What is the stated mission, anyway, of Beat the Streets LA?
Well, at the core of Beat the Streets is we're a sports-based youth development program. We just happen to use wrestling as kind of the vehicle for all those things that we talk about that teaches youth discipline, accountability, humility, determination. All of those things is the mission of Beat the Streets, and we use wrestling as that vehicle because we believe so much that wrestling does that in a very unique way, in a way that many other team sports and even individual sports can't do. And so we've gotten an amazing amount of positive feedback from our programs and the way that we've been able to kind of incorporate our mission into our daily programs. And we're looking at about 22 programs now that we're going to be having this fall, serving anywhere from 500 to 600 youth. And that's pretty amazing considering we're just not even 3 years old. So it's been an amazing journey, and to hear some of the stories and the things that have been happening, part of it's been really great.
This summer, point in fact, Andy Barth has got to be happy. Your council of leaders, your board, must be very happy. For there's been several points of great recognition for the staff and those that are contributing to the Beat the Streets LA effort. The first one I'd like to talk about, perhaps, would be Marcy Van Duzen being named the 2014 USA Wrestling Woman of the Year. Can you talk to us about that? And in that, she is obviously very deserving, but this is a very prestigious honor.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And like you said, she is very deserving, and what she's done for us in our programs has really just lit a fire under women's wrestling in Los Angeles. And to have her to be kind of that spokesperson, that role model for all these young girls that are considering wrestling, and in most cases trying something new that maybe they didn't even know about before. And she's been invaluable to us. It's an amazing honor, and I'm thankful that people around the country have been able to recognize that, because here locally, it's made a huge impact on the youth, and obviously the things that she's doing with Tide Mercury Wrestling Club and the success that they're having contributes to the big picture as well. And so it's an awesome honor, and we're honored to have her a part of our program.
The camp experience that many of your youth were able to enjoy recently, I noted, and I try to keep track of this as much as I possibly can. And folks, you can too, by the way. Go to beatthestreets-la.org. That's the parent website. You can find the information we're talking about today, find out how you can get involved, and of course, maybe even try to duplicate this effort in a community, city, state where you live. We're talking with Kevin Lake today at Beat the Streets LA in Los Angeles. June 16th, there was a release sent out. You had a camp fundraiser, and then scholarships were awarded to deserving youth that would be able to participate in this camp experience. Can you talk to us about I think there are 24 girls that attended Marcy's camps, and then 46 boys that attended the Fullerton Wrestling Camp in Orange. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, the lead up, the camp experience has been something that really is driven by our executive director Yaru Washington, and he's put a great amount of importance on that experience as a part of our overall mission, and giving kids the opportunity to go out and experience something new, and be around people from other places, other cultures in some cases, and just see that there's more to their world than just what they see on a day-to-day basis. And through that, we made a really big push this year to raise some funds to send as many kids as possible to camp. And we ended up sending 68 kids, boys and girls, to summer camps. The girls went to Marcy Van Dusen's camp up in the Lake Arrowhead Resort mountain areas here in Los Angeles. And then the boys went down to the Fullerton Wrestling Camp out in Orange, California, which is on the campus of Chapman University, and just an amazing experience. And every one of the kids that participated, they did a great job. They competed at a high level. They just learned so much. But not only that, they came back with friendships, with stories. The bus ride home was full of laughter and excitement. And while I'm sure they were looking forward to their bed, they just had a great time and a great experience. And overall, it definitely served what we hoped it would.
These weren't just any camps. So let's be a little more descriptive on the camps. The Fullerton camp is the longest running camp in Southern California, and there were past NCAA champs and world and Olympic level wrestlers as camp counselors. So it gives these boys a chance to touch greatness. The girls were being the clinicians and the featured guests that were there are literally a who's who of women's elite wrestlers. So these kids are having a great opportunity, from my estimation, of being in touch with some of the best. And why not? Why not start with the best?
Yeah, and Marcy's camp, first and foremost, she does an amazing job with the administration of the camp. But the way she structured the camp is really neat, because the counselors, and as you mentioned, the who's who, the Victoria Anthonys, the Helens, basically these female wrestling role models, they serve as team leaders, and they end up becoming not only mentors to these kids, but in some cases friends. And at the end of the camp, I saw many of these girls sharing phone numbers and email addresses with these elite level women wrestlers, and they said, hey, if you need anything, let me know. And so there's not too many places that you can get that. And so for our girls to be able to be a part of that, it's pretty amazing. And then for the boys and the Fullerton Wrestling Camp, for one, Coach Campbell and Coach Alpert run one of the best wrestling camps. I've been involved in wrestling for a long time. I ran wrestling camps. They do as good of a job as anybody I've ever seen in running camps. And the list of clinicians were amazing. Ironically, the very first clinician, Anthony Robles, was also served as a keynote speaker for our fundraising event. And so for Anthony to come and be a part of us helping kind of raise the awareness of what we were trying to do, and then also be there to kind of meet and greet and talk with some of our kids was a really amazing experience for them, and it's something that I'm sure they'll never forget.
Anthony Robles is a very description, if you think about it, of the overall goals of Beat the Streets is respect, teamwork, leadership, integrity, perseverance, everything, all the key words that you can think of fit Anthony. And
Absolutely.
When he talks, people sit and listen. I had probably 250 people sit at the Des Moines Public Library when Anthony was first on his book tour. Mm-hmm. And they were amazed and so engaged. They all walked away with something, and I can believe the 46-plus kids and attendees at this camp, or these two camps, were able to walk away with some. They had to earn the honor to be able to attend these camps, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not performance-based. It was effort-based, and it's based on the feedback that we got from their coaches and their individual programs and their commitment to those values that you spoke on. And while it wasn't necessarily the best wrestlers that we had in our group that attended camp, but it was definitely the most deserving in that they were driven, they were motivated, they did all the things that they needed to do. And as it happened, some of these kids made some huge strides in their wrestling performances as well. And I think it was eye-opening for some of them, especially at Fullerton Camp, where at the end they held a little tournament, and several of our wrestlers won their little mini tournament, their little pools. And it was just great to see, and to see all the hard work that they put in kind of pay off in front of that, in that setting, in front of all those people.
I really enjoy the benefits to events like this, to the long term of what we look at. Pardon me, I'm going to reach over. The studio lines are going crazy here, and I'm not sure why. But
it's because I'm on here.
Right, probably. I don't know how people understand who we're interviewing or when we do. But I will say this, that that one particular the camp, the fundraiser, and then the leading up to the experience itself, I think is probably some of the greatest benefits. I always say what you learn in the summer can be applied in the fall, but I think it's also, in this case, being applied to life's lessons. We're talking with Kevin Lake, Beat the Streets LA. Is it any coincidence that you're enjoying as much success as you are? When I say you, I mean Beat the Streets LA. And San Marino's not that far away, and that, of course, being the home or the home site for the Tight Mercury Wrestling Club. It seems to me that there's quality wrestling and growth team-wise, and then Beat the Streets LA has got to be experiencing some of the benefits from that relationship.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with Andy Barth and his relationship to us and Beat the Streets LA, and then also his involvement with the Tight Mercury Wrestling Club and USA Wrestling as a whole, we've benefited greatly. And I think all of LA wrestling has benefited from what they're doing there in San Marino with the Tight Mercury Wrestling Club. And anytime there's a clinician that they have out or some elite level wrestlers, we try to get them involved in some of our Beat the Streets events and things like that. And in some ways, our hope has been to kind of become the epicenter of wrestling here in LA. And through Tight Mercury and through what we're doing with Beat the Streets, it's kind of starting to happen. And we're finding that when there's wrestling things going on or people looking for information in Los Angeles about wrestling, they're reaching out to people like Yaru Washington and like the Tight Mercury Wrestling Club. And so, like you said, it's been short in the time, but we've really taken some really long strides to the ultimate goal of just growing the awareness of wrestling here in Los Angeles.
Recently, Mitch Lehman, editor of the San Marino Tribune, wrote a really nice article recognizing something good that was being done, and I think it serves as another footprint of things that can be done around the country. But the Rotary Club of San Marino provided a $15,000 donation to your organization, and these were largely proceeds from the San Marino Auto Classic. But that was a unique relationship, a kind of a cool partnership. You always think outside the box. Well, how do we raise money for wrestling? People go, well, let's sell T-shirts. Well, let's think outside the box. Let's look at something greater. Boy, I'll tell you what, the San Marino Auto Classic, many of the auto shows around the country, is a great idea and a great example. This one paid off in spades, a $15,000 donation. That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, it was, and it was, as I understand it, the largest gift that they've ever made to a youth organization. And San Marino is not an underserved community in terms of the resources they have, but the people that make up the community and that make up the Rotary, they recognize the importance of giving back to the Los Angeles community as a whole. And when we had the opportunity to meet with them and share with them some of the things that we were working on, they just really got behind it and were really happy to be a part of it. And then for them to make that gift the way that they did was just amazing for us and great for our programs.
How important you've referenced Yaru Washington as the director there. He was a kid from Oakland and was potentially going down the wrong path in life and it's wrestling that really brought, I think, the best out in him, and the fact that we get to have him, you, Marcy, etc., leading the way out there through BTSLA. It seems as if it's a perfect vehicle to give back, and it seems like Rotary is backing that up not only with money, but the way they're viewing now this organization.
Yeah, and when you have kind of a living, breathing example of what wrestling can do in someone like Yaru, and he can kind of share a story, and then we can talk further about what we've been able to do in the city and in our programs. It's not a tough sell. It's just here's a guy that is an example of it, and he's living it. And when we have an opportunity to have someone like Yaru to share that story, it's not a mistake that he's in the position that he's in and that he's accomplished the things that he's accomplished in the sport and in his career.
I think the way that Mitch started his article, he said that a famous United States Army general once said that among other material on a young man's resume, a young person's resume, two specific entries were of particular interest for success: Eagle Scout and wrestler, and not necessarily in that order. I liked it. That was good. Mitch is keyed in on, I think, our overall goals. Let's move to the next topic, if
Sure.
you will. Let's go to a young man that was recognized for National School Resource Officer of the Year. It took place on the 25th of July. So, as I said, the summer's been full of great news, specifically about BTSLA and the kids that it's benefiting. Well, let's talk a bit about the young man that was recognized, and you call him Jesus or Jess Arana. Let's talk a bit about the BTSLA coach, Jesus Arana.
Yeah, so Jess has been, since day one when we started in Los Angeles, Jess has been a part of the San Fernando Tiger youth wrestling program. He wrestled in it as a youth, and then wrestled through the system, and then ultimately for San Fernando at the high school level, and becoming a Los Angeles School Police Sergeant. He had made wrestling an important part of the way that he tried to give back to his community. And when we first got here, he was one of the first people that I had opportunity to meet with, and he understood kind of what our goals were, and that they aligned with something that he felt passionate about. And so he's really been instrumental in helping us grow, particularly in the San Fernando Valley, and ultimately all around. And the relationships that we've leveraged through him and the Los Angeles School Police Department have been extremely important in our growth. And to see him honored in that way from the National Association of School Resource Officers, and to see that recognition nationwide that he's gotten for his efforts specifically for youth wrestling, and that's really what drove him to win the award. And he's absolutely deserving. Again, we talked about what Marcy does for our programs. People like Jess, people like Marcy, and this many other people that have been on our part of our program is something that makes us really proud, and we're just really grateful for all those relationships.
You have mentioned that he's been a part of the organization BTSLA for a while. It's actually been 2+ years as a mentor and bringing a Beat the Streets LASPD partnership to the San Fernando community. I think it's actually having a broader effect, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to the entire San Fernando Valley.
Absolutely, and it's a great relationship for us and the school police, and the reputation that they have for serving their community, and what we've been able to do through some partnership with them is just really great for the whole community and all of Los Angeles. I mean, the school police serve the entire Los Angeles community, and we've been able to open programs because of them and because of their relationships, and I expect that there'll be several more programs through that partnership very soon.
We're again talking to Kevin Lake of the Los Angeles edition of Beat the Streets, in large part leading the way nationally. New York has done an outstanding job, and Beat the Streets LA, of course, has taken that and just absolutely run away with the idea on how to build the individual organization that'll benefit so many kids. And this is an area that in large part had ignored wrestling for a good number of years now. It's not just on its way back, it's back and growing stronger by the day. I would like to take and paraphrase, if I may, something you said about Jess, and then we can get into the one word that is key to me in the entire paragraph or the entire statement you made about Jess. And it says, Jess Arana exemplifies what it means to be a mentor to youth. I could not think of a more deserving individual. He is a living example of the transformative power of sport, and because of his passion for giving back to his community and LA, he has a positive impact on the lives of many youth wrestlers. So, again, in paraphrasing, or at least extracting one particular word, and I think you know what it is, the transformative power. So transformative being the operative word. Wrestling has a very unique opportunity, unlike other sports, to transform a youth into being somebody that's socially responsible, a stronger asset to the family base, the family unit, to his community, to his church. Many different effects, but transformative is the key and operative word there that is so important to me and my view of wrestling. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And as I mentioned before in the beginning, when we talked a little bit about our mission and using, wrestling as a vehicle, I don't think there's a better way to have that transformative power, or a better sport that does it so efficiently and so well, and in so many different youth, from so many different backgrounds, and that's, I think, one of the greatest things about wrestling. And I think you and I probably see eye to eye on that. That anyone can wrestle. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you're built like, who your parents are, who your neighbors are. It's really anybody can wrestle, and that's what makes it so unique and so great. And I to have that as the vehicle of what we're trying to do here has been it's been great, and we've seen it, and you see it. It's happening in New York, it's happening in Philadelphia, it's happening in Chicago, Washington D.C., Providence, Rhode Island, and we hear these stories, and it's not by chance. It's by the work of a lot of people, hard work of a lot of people, and then through what I think is the greatest sport in the world, and that's wrestling.
And we don't want to forget what Matt has done in Toledo and the Toledo Public Schools and his Beat the Streets effort in Toledo, Ohio, Matt Mose. So we don't want to forget him. He is.
And there's many more out there.
Yeah, there are. There really are, and it's
there's
amazing.
So many people doing some great stuff out there. San Francisco too. It's pretty amazing.
So we know what's been going on during the summer, even if this is a snapshot or a glimpse, if you will. We know why wrestling. We know the benefits, obviously, that it's providing these kids. How can people that are watching this interview not only be in touch, but how can they help? What can they do, and what are you looking for?
Well, I think one is get involved. Get involved in the youth programs in their cities. There's youth programs all over the country. There's a chance that there's one in your backyard if you're watching this out there, and so find a way to find out who they are, get involved, and then if you have a passion to support some of these larger urban wrestling organizations like Beat the Streets in New York and some of the cities that we've talked about, they all have great web presences. Get online, learn about them, find out ways you can help. Here in Los Angeles, we're growing quickly. We have no shortage of need of support in many different ways, and so. Get to our website, find out what we're doing, find out different ways that you can get involved. But I think just more than anything, I would say just get involved, take action, and put your actions behind your words.
I know you guys buy 300 to 400 pairs of shoes each year. You buy uniforms, warm-up, sweats, socks. I mean, even the simplest things, all the way down to a pair of socks, and what that can mean to a kid that may not have the resources to purchase these type of things that will enable them to be involved in one of the most affordable of sports. So I surely take my hat off to you, to your board, to Yaru and his leadership, to Marcy and everybody at Beat the Streets LA. It's an amazing story to continue to be able to tell it, but you guys are out there beating the drum daily, and I'd just like to take a moment to salute what you and the balance of Beat the Streets across the country are doing. But it's through this positive movement and motion that we can continue to build this sport. It's an amazing time to be a part of the reemergence of the sport, the reawakening of the sport and its benefits. We're feeling it here in the States, but it's happening around the world. Can you feel it, Kevin?
Absolutely, and I like to use the term awakening the sleeping giant. It's out there, and we're really it's been pretty neat to see in just the past 2 years how much our sport has changed and how much kind of recognition we've kind of developed, and you're no small part of that. We thank you for everything you do for us, specifically here in LA, but also the wrestling community as a whole, and just an amazing job of promoting the sport in a really positive light, and we're thankful and appreciative of all that.
Kevin, I know your schedule is packed, and I appreciate you taking the opportunity to join us today so we can help alert and notify the public of what is going on out there. The greater story, of course, is the kids and the benefits that wrestling provides, but through the Beat the Streets organization in Los Angeles, you guys are providing an excellent example of what others can do. Kevin Lake, thank you for the time today. We appreciate it, and I'll look forward to our next conversation with either you, Yaru, or Marcy whenever she gets back from Alaska.
All right, thank you. I appreciate
it. Did you enjoy the process?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
We're over here giving me dirty looks every time I said something wrong. So
Well, tell him to stand by. For all of us at Takedown, I'm Scott Casper. He's Kevin Lake of Beat the Streets LA. We appreciate you watching and being involved in the sport. We appreciate you watching this interview. If you'd like more information, go to beatthestreets-la.org. Again, that's beatthestreets-la.org. I'm Scott Casper for Takedown Media. Thanks for watching.